Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Baby boomers grew up in the shadow of nuclear war. Well, today we have an entirely different type that could threaten the world. A war run by computers.
You know, Gordon, it sounds like science fiction, but as Chris Mitchell reports, it's all too real.
In the Terminator movie series, machines take over the world. In Independence Day, a computer virus saves the world from alien invasion. All of this sounds far-fetched, yet cyber warfare isn't limited to Hollywood. Computer experts recently discovered two of the most complex computer programs ever designed for sabotage and espionage, called Stuxnet and Flame. According to the New York Times, the U.S. and Israel developed the computer virus Stuxnet and used it to destroy a key part of Iran's nuclear program. Many suspect the two countries also designed the Flame virus, a program to spy and gather information. These revelations astounded information technology expert Eugene Kaspersky.
That was a shock for us because we didn't expect that we are going to find such a serious, very professional, huge project. The typical criminal malware, that's a bicycle. Stuxnet is a car. Flame, it's a space shuttle.
Kaspersky's specialty is IT security, and it was his workers in Moscow who discovered Stuxnet and Flame. Those discoveries told him the world had entered a new era.
It means that we are living in the age of cyber weapons and cyber wars. As I see the future of this world, I'm afraid it will be the place for many cyber attacks with unpredictable results.
These sophisticated, complicated computer programs can only be developed by countries. Now many nations have built cyber warfare divisions.
The world, as I understand it, the cyber world, is in danger because we depend on IT, we depend on computer systems, and not just on your table, and not just a mobile phone in your pocket. It's everywhere. It's transportation, factories, power plants, air traffic. Everything depends on computer systems.
Kaspersky hopes countries will sit down and agree not to use cyber weapons. But he's really concerned about what he says is next.
The next, I'm afraid, is cyber terrorism. And I'm afraid it's the worst case scenario.
And what could cyber terrorism look like?
FAA just issued a critical alert. The entire network went down.
That takes us back to Hollywood. When Kaspersky watched the action film Live Free or Die Hard, he knew Hollywood dramatized his worst cyber nightmare.
I'm afraid now we're in the very beginning of the cyber wars age, and I'm afraid it's not the end of the story.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Herzliya.
And it is definitely not the end of the story. It's a whole new, brave new world out there. That Flame virus is absolutely incredible. What it will do is take over an entire computer and use it now as a recording device, where it can turn on the webcam if there's a webcam attached to the computer. It can turn on a microphone if the microphone's attached to a computer. Most laptops have that installed now, and literally listen and see everything in the room. On top of that, make a screenshot capture of every email, every message, every website that computer is used to go to, and send all of that information away to another server so that can be looked at. That's the kind of spyware that's out there in the world today. And sometimes it makes me want to just disengage and go move to Montana and live on a farm. What do you think about all this?
Well, you know, I'm sitting here thinking, even as I was watching the piece, Gordon, I'm like, as a consumer, how do I balance? Technology is inevitable. I mean, it's just a part of our society. How do I balance that versus being wise and using discretion? But then at the same time, I kind of want to go back to 1952 and use those old typewriters again where it goes, you know? And so I don't know. I do have to admit, we've had this conversation before. You're more the techie, and you love it. I'm more the, there's a lot of trepidation there.
Well, you do have to make sure on any of the social media sites or in any of your web searches, you have your full privacy protections. Be aware of the privacy policies.
But I don't trust those, Gordon. I don't trust them. I don't trust that I can hit a button and it says that I'm not going to tell people this information. I don't trust them.
Okay.
Okay, your turn.
You got some anxiety. All right. Be careful out there. Lee Webb has the rest of our top stories from the CBN Newsroom. Lee?
Gordon, Egyptian courts have dealt a heavy blow to the Muslim Brotherhood just days before the crucial presidential elections in that country. Judges appointed by former leader Hosni Mubarak have dissolved the parliament dominated by Islamists. The decision concentrates power now even more firmly in the hands of the generals who took over from Mubarak. One senior member of the Muslim Brotherhood calls the ruling a full-fledged coup. The elections are still set to go ahead this weekend, but this presidential race has deeply divided that country. The financial crisis in Greece is taking a heavy toll on that country's healthcare system. Reuters reports that state-run hospitals are cutting off important drugs and rationing basic medical materials for exhausted doctors. The head of the country's Cancer Patients Association says the situation has become a matter of life and death. The government has not been able to pay some important medical bills. Greeks will vote on a new government this Sunday, looking for leaders who can find a way to solve the debt crisis. And CBN News will have special reports Monday on the elections in Greece as well as Egypt. Well, millions of Americans will celebrate Father's Day this Sunday. Being a father is one of the most important roles a man will ever have. That's why an author and former diplomat is sharing 10 principles every dad needs to know. Here's Paul Strand.
Roughly a third of children in America grow up without a father in the home. After growing up without his own father, author, businessman, philanthropist, and former diplomat Gregory Slayton knows the effects it can have. In his book, Be a Better Dad Today, Slayton talks about the importance of fatherhood.
Even if you're the president of the United States or the CEO of the largest company in the world, that job is going to end. The beautiful thing about fatherhood, not only does it not come to an end, but it actually grows and multiplies.
Slayton breaks it down to 10 tools, 10 principles every father needs to put into action. Number 1, family comes first. Number 2, a committed marriage. 3, a high moral standard. Slayton says this is the greatest inheritance you can leave your children. Number 4, show your kids how much you love them. 5, display servant leadership. 6, be a good listener. 7, know your need for your Heavenly Father. 8, find support in good role models. 9, never quit on your family. And 10, support your family in every area, not just financially, but also emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
I'm not sure there's one silver bullet, to tell you the truth. I think if I had to manufacture one, I think it would be really trying to stay as close as we possibly can to our Heavenly Father. Because, you know, fathers today, it's a challenging role. Society no longer is like 100 years ago or 200 years ago. It's very clear. Here's the father. Here's what he does. Here's how he acts. Unfortunately, our society is going away from that. I think it's a real loss for our society. But dads today are called on to provide, you know, wisdom, strength, love, grace, tenderness.
Slayton says even if you made mistakes in the past, it's never too late to start being the best dad you can be.
Never too late. Never too late. I want everybody to hear that. Even if you've been estranged from your kids for many years, you can get back in the fatherhood game and be a positive influence.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
Great advice, Gordon.
Fantastic advice, and certainly coming up on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and a special Happy Father's Day for those of you who are stepdads. So many blended families in America. So if you're a stepdad, Happy Father's Day to you. I know it's difficult. That role is very difficult. And if you're mentoring young people and you're providing a role model for them, Happy Father's Day to you too. We've all got a tough social challenge. So many single parents trying to raise children in our culture today. And we need to honor those fathers who keep their commitments and take on commitments that they never signed up for, but said, okay, I'll fill the gap, I'll be there. Christy?
Good word. Happy Father's Day to you too, Gordon. Okay, really quick. You got 3 kids. This Sunday, do you think you're going to get the tie, the wallet, socks, or what's the other? Cologne. Which one are you going to get, Gordon?
I think I'm going to get none of the above. Actually, we're having a big celebration for my father.
Oh, that's
and so
lovely.
It's going to be Granddaddy Day.
Look at that. I like that. Cool.
The Pentagon is set to salute gay and lesbian troops. June is Gay Pride Month here in the U.S., and the Defense Department is planning the first ever event to honor gay service members. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta says it's important to recognize the contributions gays have made in the military. The move comes 9 months after the repeal of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy that banned gay troops from serving openly. Officials say the event will follow along the same lines as recognizing Black History Month. Operation Blessing is making sure children are prepared for hurricane season. Disaster relief teams visited elementary schools, teaching students what to do if a hurricane should threaten their area. Students learned how hurricanes form, how strong they can be, the difference between a hurricane watch and a hurricane warning, and most importantly, how to stay safe. Teams also taught the children how to make hurricane emergency kits and gave them a tour of Operation Blessing's disaster relief equipment. More than 450 students were educated on hurricanes in only 2 days. And you can find out more about Operation Blessing by going to its website at ob.org.